You use the passé composé to announce a completed past action. It's maybe sudden or just for one time, it's in the past and it's over. You use the passé composé to describe past actions that are countable. Maybe they happened once, twice, 10 times. If you can count it with a discrete start and stop point, then that's passé composé. You use the passé composé to talk about sequential things that happen in order, like first I did this and then this happened and after that, that's passé composé. And you also use passé composé for a new action that interrupts some previous imparfait action that was going on. We are looking at passé composé signal words, which are words and phrases that signal or indicate that you are going to use the passé composé because you're describing something that was for a short or countable number of times. Usually these indicator words indicate that something was sudden, that it's over quickly, that it's over, that it's sequential, like in order, or that it happened like once, twice, 4 times, for example. Enfin, nous avons vu le film. Finally, we saw the movie. If you see the word enfin, aka finally, it sounds like finally, like it happened one time. En 2009, j'ai travaillé à Charlottesville High School. In 2009, I worked at Charlottesville High School. I used to student teach there and I was a substitute teacher there. Um, I'm going to put that in the passé composé because it is over. It can be compartmentalized into 1 year's time, and I can say, I worked there. Now I'm done. If you see a year, you could do that and say passé composé because it's over. I do want to point out these signal words indicate that it probably is passé composé. I could also say in 2009, I was working at Charlottesville High School when, and that would be imparfait because I'm doing like a past action that's in progress. I was working at Charlottesville High School. So these are a little bit fluid as to whether they are 100% passé composé or imparfait, but they are very helpful in determining which tense you might want to use. If you see a day of the week like lundi, mardi, mercredi, jeudi, vendredi, samedi, or dimanche, and there's no le in front, then that's just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's like last Monday, last Tuesday. For example, dimanche, nous sommes partis de l'hôtel. Sunday, like last Sunday, we left the hotel. That's passé composé because I have a specific day when it happened, and that's not like every Sunday. I don't have a le in front of the day. You can also add the word dernier, feminine form dernière, to really specify that it was last Sunday or last Thursday. For example, j'ai pris un café avec elle mercredi dernier. I took coffee with her last Wednesday. The dernier is not necessary. I could just say mercredi, j'ai pris un café avec elle, but it emphasizes that it's last Wednesday. You might also see the word passé to do that. Mercredi passé, like the past Wednesday. You might see a specific date, like en 2014, in 2014, this happened, or l'année dernière, last year. Or maybe you might even see une fois, deux fois, one time, 2 times. That means it's definitely countable. For example, Nelly est née en 2019. My daughter Nelly, she was born in 2019. That's passé composé because it's a moment, happened once on a specific day in a specific year. Another example, Monsieur Probst est venu à Rosberg l'année dernière. Last year, Mr. Probst came to Rosberg. I'm talking about a moment last year that something happened. Or if you see the word fois, which means time, and a number, then you know it's a definite countable event. Je suis allé à Washington, D.C. cette fois. French people don't usually say DC, they just say Washington because they don't really care about the state. Je suis allé à Washington cette fois. I've been to Washington, D.C. 7 times. I can count each time, so I'm going to make it passé composé. A couple other examples. Soudain, all of a sudden. Tout à coup, all of a sudden. They mean the same thing. Or à ce moment-là, which means at that moment. Those all indicate that it's just one moment in the past that you are announcing with passé composé. Soudain, j'ai entendu un bruit fort dans le salon. Suddenly, I heard a loud noise in the living room. Well, that's passé composé because it's a moment, it's fast, it's over. Les élèves passaient l'examen quand tout à coup le directeur est entré. This kind of goes with what we saw last week of we have an imparfait action in progress and then an interruption. The students were taking a test when all of a sudden the principal came in. Tout à coup, all of a sudden, means it's going to be passé composé. À ce moment-là, on a vu arriver la police. At that point, we saw the police coming. À ce moment-là is pointing to one discrete moment in the past. Lastly, you will see some signal words that point to something being sequential, things happening in an order, like ensuite, puis, après, alors, enfin, finalement. These can be used to put a story in order and say which actions happen sequentially. Like the hungry caterpillar in French is called la chenille qui fait des trous, the caterpillar who makes holes. And he says, la chenille a commencé à chercher de la nourriture. Lundi, il a mangé une pomme. Ensuite, mardi, il a mangé 2 poires. Après, il a mangé 3 prunes. So that's kind of setting things up to be in order. That means it's going to use passé composé. Monday, he did this. Tuesday, he did this, etc. Elle n'aimait pas sa maison, alors elle a déménagé. She didn't like her house, so she moved. You'll see passé composé used kind of as a result of things in the past. She didn't imparfait like her house, so she moved. I do want to point out that overall, when you see those words that were in red, they indicate that you'll probably use passé composé, but I do recommend kind of looking at the whole sentence, figuring out what it's saying, and the context. For example, l'année dernière, last year, is usually an indicator of passé composé. L'année dernière, Monsieur Probst est venu. Last year, Mr. Probst came. But maybe I'm describing something that was happening last year and then there's an interruption. So it might be like that past action in progress scenario. Last year we were at school as usual and then COVID forced us to close schools. So l'année dernière, I would normally think passé composé, but I'm describing we were at school, then COVID. Or une fois, elle promenait le chien et la laisse s'est cassée. One time she was walking the dog and the leash broke. So normally I would have une fois. It's obviously countable. It's just one time. But I'm giving this past background in progress thing and then the moment that's passé composé. She was walking her dog, then the leash broke. So these indicator words, these signal words, they can signal that you'll probably want to pick imparfait or passé composé, but you still need to take the whole sentence and the context into consideration.